Good evening, everybody. Thanks for joining us tonight. This is the Aspen City Council special meeting for January 7th, 2025. That's a call to order. Could we have a roll call for attendance, please?
Councilor Doyle.
Here.
Councilor Guth.
Here.
Councilor Howenstein.
Here.
Councilor Rose.
Here.
Mayor Tory.
Here as well. This is an opportunity for the public to make public comment this evening. This is an opportunity for you to address City Council on items that are not listed for public hearing, which are no items this evening. And we do ask that you limit your comments to about 3 minutes so that everybody gets a fair and equal opportunity to speak. Are there members of the public that wish to speak this evening?
I'm David Eisenstadt. This is my wife, Nina. And the reason we're here tonight is because we thought it was important for us to make the council aware of what can only be described as a terrible situation that we're facing, and it involves the city as well. Here's what happened in a nutshell, as I understand it. Either late at night on December 21st or early in the morning on December 22nd, about 17 days ago, a city water main broke right in front of our house where we live on Park Avenue. As a result, literally thousands of gallons of water flooded the lowest level of our house, filling it up to a level of about 1 foot high. It's hard for me to get my mind around. I don't know if you can picture this, how much water it must have taken to fill up an entire floor of our house, which is approximately 1,100 square feet, with water. It's hard to describe. Since then, we've been working nonstop with a remediation company to get rid of the water, dry out the house, prevent the accumulation of mold or other problems, and get us in a position where we can rebuild and put our house back together. In the meantime, our house is uninhabitable. I mean, we're effectively homeless. I just can't even begin to describe not only the structural impact. I mean, walls are open, it's a mess. And how many of our personal possessions, furniture, furnishings, business records, tax records, family mementos, all of that were just ruined and are unsalvageable. There's no other way to describe it, but it's a disaster site. And any of you are more than welcome to come over and see for yourselves. It's not a pretty sight. From the outset of this, we thought the responsible thing for us to do was to reach out to city staff, which we did. And we were told by staff that the city will stand behind us and make things right. And that's really exactly what we'd expect, or I think you would expect, from the town that's been our only home for 25 years. Today, and the reason we're here really, is because out of the clear blue, we received a letter from the city's insurance company denying any responsibility for the loss. We didn't hear from the city. We heard from the city's insurance company. And honestly, we really don't know where that leaves us. We came here tonight to essentially tell you that we expect our city to stand behind us and to work cooperatively with us, which is what we were led to believe would happen, and ultimately to make us whole for our losses, which are not insubstantial. Simply stated, we did nothing wrong. Our house was perfectly dry and in perfect order. Then there was a city water main break outside our house, and then our house was flooded and wrecked. Those are the simple facts. I don't think anybody's questioning that. I guess, to wrap this up, my tale of woe, I guess we expected and we were led to believe, and we still hope and believe, that the city will have our back and will work with us cooperatively to make things right. That's what should happen. And it's just unthinkable to me that the city would not take care of us, and we need some assurance that that will not be the case, that in fact the city will take care of us. But what's happening now, based on the letter we received, and where we seem to stand at this point, I'm not sure if we've received the brush off. And I hope that's not the case. I hope that was not the intention. We need the council's help, and that's why we're here tonight.
Thank you very much. Jim, this is an item that I think council members would love more information about. And it'd probably be appropriate for us to get some executive session information about our role and about what we can do for our community citizens and stuff like that. But there is I don't know if it's considered pending at this time or not, but there's a pending issue here, and I'm sure that there's interest amongst council members of supporting our community members. So can we possibly get this, can we even talk about it this evening or no?
I would suggest that we not talk about it this evening because I think there's more information to gather. I know there is an intention to have an executive session, or I believe there's an intention to have an executive session next Tuesday night. And I think it would be appropriate to put this item on the agenda. I know that that does not immediately address the Eisenstadt's problems, but there are processes that we have to go through. We have to look at. Having CRSA do the investigation that they did was an initial step. But after that, I think we need to, well, Sarah may have more information to provide, but we can certainly address this in executive session next week.
Okay. Other questions, Ward?
Before the meeting, I told you guys, I hope we will, it's my intention, I project it's the intention of all members of the council here to make you whole and to make sure that we take appropriate measures to make you whole.
Thank you, Ward.
Sam?
Yeah, I echo Ward's comments that I wish we could do things sooner. I do hope we vote to have an executive session next week on this. And I think there's two issues that I really want to dive into in the executive session. One is how to make the Eisenstadts whole or as close to whole as possible. And with that, the other one is potential solutions so this issue doesn't happen again to a future family in Aspen. Because right now, the issue seems to be at one end of the spectrum. And I know things like government immunity are in place to prevent certain problems that can arise for governments. But at the same time, there's somewhere in the middle that we need to meet so that this doesn't happen, because the government should not be able to even accidentally devastate your home and then pay you $5,000 measly in restitution. It's just not right. And for that, I hope the executive session covers those two main things, and we help make you guys as close to whole as possible, if not fully whole, and to make sure this doesn't happen again, because I think if anyone is listening out there, or if this does make the papers, I would be scared if I was a homeowner, knowing that you would never think about being on vacation in December on the holidays and a water line breaking and your home being flooded. That's not something we think about every day, and that's not even something that we necessarily think about when we do our due diligence to buy homes. So it really is a scary thing to have heard this, and I'm really hopeful we can learn from it, but also make you guys whole in the process.
Thank you. Bill?
Thanks. Firstly, I wanted to express how sorry that I am on behalf of the city of Aspen that you're going through this. I can only imagine how difficult it has been on you, and the last thing that you want to be dealing with, and even in the best of circumstances, a torturous process. So my genuine apologies. I wanted to ask if you could describe for us, putting aside perhaps the letter from the insurance carrier that you received today, how you feel that you've been treated interacting with the city staff through this scenario. And I ask you to please be as genuine and honest as possible.
Certainly, Bill, and as I said, initially, we reached out to the water department. Actually, we reached out to the water department when this was all happening, and we received notice from the fire department that our house was being flooded. And I asked them to turn off the water, turn off the main. The answer I got initially was, well, we really can't do that to the neighborhood around the holidays, which I was appalled to hear.
What was the date and the time?
As far as I know, Tori, here's what happened. The break occurred possibly around 10 o'clock at night on the 21st. The repair wasn't done until, I don't know, midday the next day, or the evening. I really don't know the details. What I do know is that the water flowed for hours and hours, and it wasn't repaired until much later. And our remediation crew, who we tried to get on site as quickly as possible, couldn't keep up with the inflow of water. They're pumping it out as fast as it's coming in, and they couldn't lower the level for hours and hours on end. That much I know. We were advised, after the main was repaired apparently, we were advised to reach out to the city's HR department, which apparently handles matters like this. We received assurances from staff that the city would make it right by us, they would have our back, we would be able to recover with the city's support. In fact, we were told that we should submit any invoices directly to staff when they came in, and we have done that. We've received no indication of when they might be paid, but I'm already out of pocket for a certain invoice to the remediation company. We were also told, when I kept following up in days, I mean, it's been 17 days. I was told it's being investigated, it's being worked on, but that's all I heard. And as I said, from my point of view, supposedly being worked on, which is fine, I received a letter from a third-party insurance company that I have no relationship with, telling me the loss is going to be denied. And that's what I know, Tori, and that's about as much specificity as I have available to me. We were repeatedly told that the city would stand behind us, and that's what we expected to hear. And I appreciate the comments tonight to that effect. But all I know is the last indication of communication was from the insurance company denying the loss. So I don't know where that leaves us. I want to continue to work cooperatively with the city. I want to be backstopped by my city and have them make us whole for our loss, or as close to whole as reasonably possible. We'll never be made whole. There's certain things that are irreplaceable. But we understand that, and we'll deal with those issues. But we want to know that there is a continuing commitment of cooperation. And there's certainly no indication of that. There's an indication to the contrary, despite what we were assured. I hope that answers your question.
It does, and I share the feelings of Sam and Ward and Tori about taking care of you, and I'm ashamed that an insurance company that is supposed to cover us and represent us sent you that, and I'm sorry that you experienced that, and I'm hopeful that we can find a good means to resolve this.
I appreciate that comment, and I'm as hopeful as you are. I'd like to remain an optimist that my city will have my back. It's just that we had a real setback today in receiving this letter, and no indication that the city is still committed to supporting us, other than the commitments that I've heard from council tonight, which are very much appreciated.
Unfortunately, we have a week till we can get in a session and get some details and get some support. Unfortunately, it's a week, but We will. We'll have that conversation. So sorry you guys are going through this. Are you able to even stay there at this point?
No, our house is uninhabitable. We're homeless at this point. We're relying on, friends. And it's not a good place to be.
Yeah.
We're gonna need some alternative housing, and, I don't know where that's gonna come from or how it's gonna be compensated.
John?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention, I feel your pain. I'd like to find some resolution for this, and I look forward to more information in an executive session as soon as possible.
Thank you, John.
Apologies.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Sorry.
So much. Thanks for coming tonight.
Thank you for listening to us.
Tony?
Hi, for the record, my name is Toni Kronberg, and I wanted to wish everyone a very happy new year. It's really exciting. I think 2025 sounds a lot better than 2024. But this is my 50th year of coming before Aspen City Councils. And believe it or not, I'm still working on the same two projects, so to speak, but we've made a lot of progress towards them. One of them, of course, is a new swimming pool, which morphed into the Aspen Recreation Center. And I do believe that there is a community effort out there that's going to approach the council about finishing up the Aspen Recreation Center with the outside swimming pool, the fitness center on the top, and a couple of other improvements. The Maroon Creek Trail that you approved is just wonderful. It is, people use it in the wintertime, walking, riding their bikes, walking their dogs on it. And that only took, believe it or not, that took 50 years for that to happen. It took 25 years for the Aspen Recreation Center to be built. That trail was supposed to be built at the same time. It took another 25 years, and with your efforts to make it happen. So I wanted to put a big thank you out for that. And then one of the things is that this past week during the great snowstorm that we just had, that we all know how the traffic was backed up on Aspen Main Street, 1 hour to go 1 block. And also at that time, we had Owl Creek Road closed, Brush Creek Road closed, Smith Hill Road was closed, McLean Flats Road was closed, PowerPoint Plant Road was closed as Independence Pass. And you have inherited like the perfect storm, so to speak. And I wanted to give you a personal thank you for tackling the entrance to Aspen. You're brave enough to undertake the complexities of it, and being the subject of a lot of public critique is probably the best way to put it. With all those things being said, that I applaud you for putting forward the letter of intent to CDOT to open up the environmental impact study. My hope would be that you could get it done in January or February to get the ball moving on it. But when you take a look at all those road closures and then the roundabout right now, how Castle Creek Road and Maroon Creek Road coming down, that we just can't focus on the Castle Creek Bridge and the Merle open space. We have to concentrate on the two arteries coming into the roundabout. Then we have Buttermilk, the lumberyard housing, the airport, all the way down to Brush Creek. Again, I just wanted to say thank you for all of those efforts that you're putting forward to make something happen. And my hope is that come the next election, I'm looking at the 4 of you still at this table. I think it's really important that you continue with the work that you've done in such a thoughtful manner. You don't hear people yelling and screaming at each other or storming out of a meeting. You've really conducted the city of Aspen's business in a really proudful way and really respectful with a lot of integrity. And Ward, I know your term limit, I want to put you in there too with everyone, because as I said, 50 years being in town, I'm really proud of Aspen. We get beat up a lot, but I hear every single day, Aspen is the best place in the world. It's really pretty, it's safe, it's just, their accolades go on. And it takes the whole community and it takes leadership to make that happen. But again, I wanted to thank you very much for everything. And if we get that letter of intent for the EIS, because we need to focus on everything. And the very last thing is that the record of decision entrance to Aspen is actually from Service Center Road out at Picken County where the rafter bus is, all the way into Main Street. So if we could focus on that whole area, that would be wonderful. Okay, but thank you so much. And Jim, I'm going to miss you tremendously. I just love having you be our city attorney.
Thank you.
So, and I'm sad to see you go.
Thanks, Tony.
All right, thanks.
I'll be around for a little bit.
Happy New Year, Tony.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Other members of the public for public comment this evening? Let's see, can you bring up on this side anybody that's online, attendees, et cetera? I just can't see it.
There's not anybody.
You're on?
Yeah.
Okay. And again, last call then for public comment this evening. Seeing none, I'll bring it back to council table. This brings us to action items. Guys, we have 2 items that we're dealing with tonight. The first one is a council discussion direction regarding the municipal and deputy municipal judge appointments. I sent you guys an email to just be clear about what we're talking about here and then in executive session. The direction that we're looking for here is conversation following the interviews that we had with 3 applicants for the municipal judge appointment. And we also have the opportunity for deputy municipal judge appointments. We will need to come back with a resolution and contracts. So tonight, all we're looking for is a motion to direct staff to prepare resolution and contracts for our selected appointee.
Well, Mr. Mayor, you should discuss your selection.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, a brief discussion here. We had 3 candidates and applicants apply for the muni judge position. I think we all agree that they were wonderful applicants, each in their own right. I can start discussion off by saying that for me, the candidate that rose to the top for me was Ted Garden-Schwartz. His experience and knowledge, and also just what he shared with us in his interview, I think led me to believe that he was a strong candidate for the municipal judge appointment. After that, I felt that after conferring with our legal and our city manager, that the opportunity for 2 possible deputy appointments made a lot of sense. So with 2 others in that pool, I would suggest that maybe we offer that position and that opportunity to both of those candidates. And with that, I'll open it up to other council members for other further discussion.
I have nothing to add. I echo your comments. Thanks.
Thank you. John?
That makes it easy. Let's go forward.
Ward, any comments?
Yeah, I thought that Aaron Schwartz was a natural choice, and Nottingham was, I think, right on his heels as a deputy or.
Thank you. Sam?
Ted as number 1, and the other 2 as deputies.
Wonderful. With that, can I put forward a motion? All right. I would make my motion for staff to prepare a resolution and a contract for municipal judge being Ted Garden-Schwartz, and make the offer of deputy municipal judge appointments to both Mr. Nottingham and, say it again? Thank you. Broom, yeah, Groom? Thank you.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Could we have a roll call vote for the motion for municipal judge and deputy municipal judge appointments?
Counselor Doyle?
Yes.
Counselor Guth?
Yes.
Counselor Howenstein?
Yes.
Counselor Rose?
Yes.
Mayor Tory?
Yes. Our next item this evening is considerations for council regarding the city attorney job description, timing for posting the solicitation for applicants for new city attorney. Alyssa has prepared the memo in your packet.
Good evening, council. For the record, Alyssa Farrell, Administrative Services Director. And tonight I am looking for direction in terms of the city attorney job description, if there's feedback or input from council, as well as the salary range for the job posting.
Thank you very much. Let's start with the job description that is shared. There's attachment C is a draft of position summary and some other clarifying points for applicants. Does anybody have any questions, comments, suggestions, edits, or the like?
Yeah.
Start with Sam.
Yeah, just real quick, in section 7.1, we use the pronoun he. He shall be an attorney at law admitted to practice in Colorado.
That's the
That's in
exact
the
charter
charter
language, and that's
language?
why it's stated that way.
It has to be though? Oh, okay.
It is the exact language out of the charter. I understand that there can be some interpretation to that, because that's what had to happen for me to take this role.
I appreciate your feedback and input. That's charter language, and then the job description is attachment C.
Just wanted to, okay, well.
Thank you.
That's really what I was looking at that caught my eye, because I expect to have some female applicants, so, yeah.
And
Them, he, and his.
Jim, for charter language change like that, we did talk about it a few years ago, but for charter language change like that to clarify pronouns, if you will, is that something that takes a vote?
It would still take a
It
vote.
would still take a vote.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's throughout the charter on a number of different places, the city manager and others. So it should be corrected, but it would take an amendment.
And
Voters.
so would, if council was interested in changing the language in the charter, should we ask for some direction at this table, at this time?
You could, but the first opportunity would be in November. Next would be 2 years from March. So I don't know if you have other charter changes that you might want to consider.
So instead of a motion tonight, let's just start thinking about this being in a bucket of charter changes that may be necessary or warranted.
Yeah, I can't believe it took this long potentially to change any specific pronoun to just they and move on.
Well, it's a charter change, so.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeesh.
okay, any other comments on attachment C? This is the job description.
I guess the only question, I don't know if Jim knows this, but how different is this than your job description now or the job description that you had when you were first hired to this role?
Well, I think it outlines very specifically what the job entails, and I think it's fairly thorough and complete. It's different than what I looked at in 2012.
Yep.
And probably way different from what John Wooster looked at in 1992. So I think it's just a compilation of what we really do.
So you approve?
Yes, I think it's fine.
Well, so do I, so.
Thanks. If there's no other comments regarding the actual job description, the other direction that we need here is for a salary range to be listed as well. You have in your memo, under discussion, you have both a hiring range and a salary range. Once again, council needs to have more conversation about this. So my suggestion at this time would be to list the job with the salary range that is available. That is from 208 to 277. This salary range has been put together by Alyssa and her team, reflecting comparables and other examples of municipal city attorneys. So if we want to make a motion, my suggestion would be to utilize the salary range for the for the posting.
Thank you. Yes.
Right?
Meaning for the hiring range?
Not the hiring range, the salary range.
Is the hiring range you're currently established, what you're authorized to hire someone for? I'm trying to understand what the difference is between
I can, thank you, Mayor Tory, for providing some context. I can provide a little bit more context and background too. We did work with a compensation consultant for our pay plan for 2025, and that would be your minimum salary, your midpoint, and your maximum salary range. There are considerations where at times positions are posted with the full salary range. There are times under human resources procedures and practices where just the hiring range is posted. Based on the data, so the market data is showing that you could honestly do either within the full scope. You have some data points such as Pitkin County, where their salary range starts at 181 and moves up to 318 with a midpoint at 250,000. So you also have data points such as Eagle County, where it's 226 to 260. So we were looking at the full scope of data, and that's where discussing, proposing, posting the full salary range would be one option for council to consider.
Thanks for the context. Could you give me clarity on what the exact definition in this context is of hiring range and what the exact definition of salary range is?
Thank you, great question. So salary range goes up to the first quartile on your pay plan, and then your salary range is the full scope from minimum, midpoint to maximum. It's the full scope of the pay range.
Alyssa, can you talk a little bit about how do you end up in quarter four? For example, what are the attributes of that employment experience to end up in quarter four?
So if you review your job, the city attorney job description, that's a great point, is you have minimum qualifications. And you have preferred qualifications on that, and we use that. And then as someone grows in their experience, so their qualifications, that they're in the position, they've been a previous city attorney, as an example, a previous city manager, as an example, or tenure with the city, they grow within that salary range. So they'll receive a 5 to 6.8% increase. Someone who's performing competently and has experience in the multifaceted position, supervisory experience, managing a department, city attorney experience, maybe at midpoint as one example. Does that answer the question?
Not for me, and sorry for my naivete here, but where does the hiring range come from? Where does the salary range come from? You said something about data from comparable. Is the salary range aggregated data from comparables, and the hiring range is what's authorized in your pay plan? I'm totally unclear here.
Great. I mean, not great, but I think I understand your question and can provide clarity. You're talking about the methodology used.
What are they?
Yep.
All I see is 4 numbers here. I get that the ranges, I get how you move up within the range. I understand those things, but I don't know what these ranges represent.
So you pull out our competitive market set. What employers, what market are we looking at that we find most competitive? And we look at their minimum and maximum, and yeah, it's aggregate. So we may pull out the 85th percentile, and we create our pay range within that methodology.
So which one of the two does that represent?
So that represents the full salary range.
Salary range, okay. Now explain the hiring range
Yes.
to me, please.
So you have a salary range, you have a minimum salary, a first quartile, a midpoint, a third quartile, and a maximum. The minimum to the first quartile tends to be your hiring range.
Where you start versus what you can make in the long run.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
we've not done internal processes, internal search processes yet. This precedes that process as well, in addition to the external?
For the city attorney, we have not. Staff needs the job description approved and what would be posted for the salary range approved, and then we can post tomorrow for the 7-day recommended job posting.
And then purely out of curiosity, how come this is something that you're heading up, not HR?
I'm assisting human resources at this time.
Thanks.
I'll try a motion. I would, let's see, I'll make a motion to approve the job description for the listing and including in it the salary range of 208,232 to 277,642.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
To make sure that that's all we need?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think that-
Perfect. Make sure.
Could we have a roll call vote for the motion, please?
Counselor Doyle,
Yes.
Counselor Guth,
Yes.
Counselor Howenstein,
Yes.
Counselor Rose.
Yes.
Mayor Tory.
Yes.
Thank you. We plan on posting within the next 24 to 48 hours.
Thanks, Alyssa.
Thank you very much. Jim, a few words?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I'm on. Staff is requesting that council go into executive session pursuant to C.R.S. Section 246402, 4E, determining positions relative to matters that may be subject to negotiations, developing strategy for negotiation and instructing negotiators, and 4F, personnel. Specific items of discussion involve the following: discussion and negotiations regarding the city attorney contract, instructions to negotiators regarding the municipal judge contract, and city manager review. Council elects to go into executive session. Executive session will be recorded, and the recording will be maintained by the clerk for a period of not less than 90 days. Once, as usual, we will convene the executive session downstairs and not return to this meeting room for adjournment. We will adjourn from downstairs.
Thank you very much.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
No.
No.
Go into executive
To
session.
go into executive session, I'm sorry.
Thanks.
Seconded.
Thanks. A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Can we have a roll call vote for executive session, please?
Counselor Doyle.
Yes.
Counselor Guth,
Yes.
Counselor Howenstein,
Yes.
Counselor Rose,
Yes.
Mayor Tory.
Yes.
Tony looks perplexed.
So you're doing an information packet tonight?
Pardon?
You're doing an information packet tonight? It was on the agenda? No?
We do not do information packets. They are not scheduled agenda items.
Yeah, it's not on the agenda.
I think those results are being discussed on the 27th.
It's online.
It's an information only.
But it's okay, we don't need to do it.
The information updates are always online. They're FYI memos.
But the entrance results are scheduled to be talked about.
The work session is in 2 weeks.